Ooh, what a voice.
Much nicer than the other woman.
Marguerite?
Okay, August 24th, 2021, 7:04 p.m. Pursuant to Senate Bill number 2475, which was signed into law by Governor Baker on June 16, 2021, this meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with the right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website, southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Done.
All right, thank you. And we have Susan Beyer also as an attendee. So let's, I'll keep an eye on that. She might be able to pop in as a panelist.
Yeah, you should be able to promote her. as
I
a
did.
panelist. Oh, okay.
There we
There
go.
she is.
Great.
Look,
Susan.
looks awful like her husband.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hi.
All right, so the first item of business is to review and the minutes for the July 13th, 2021 meeting.
I move to accept the minutes from last month's meeting.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. We do a roll call. Susan Beyer.
Here.
Aye. Sue Betka,
Aye.
Beth Dombacher,
Aye.
Marguerite Landry,
aye.
Sarah Micus,
Hi.
and Lauren Ritchie. Aye. All right, the motion carries. We have a board vacancy update. The Board of Selectmen met, last Tuesday, I believe it was, and at the time there were two candidates for the one open vacancy position, Mr. David Joyner and Dr. Stacy Bancroft. The Board of Selectmen were able to interview Mr. Joyner, and they delayed a decision until they were able to interview Dr. Bancroft. Since then, Dr. Bancroft has withdrawn her application. So my understanding is that at the next board, that this will be an agenda item at the next Board of Selectmen meeting. The appointment of Mr. Joyner will be an agenda item on their Board of Selectmen meeting. So at this time, we don't have any additional update on that.
So we'll have a guy on the board. How fabulous.
It's awesome. It's been a while.
I think he'll make his citizen activity form was part of our packet, and he has experience in affordable housing as well. So I think he'll make a great addition to our board.
Yeah, he sounded wonderful. Yeah.
All right, the director's report, and this will be a multi-part report, including highlights from the director's report and a holiday giving presentation. Should we start with the holiday giving presentation? Or Sarah, would you like to start with the report?
No, sure. As part of what we've been working on during the month, I'm all thrown off because we're meeting later, but the month of July and into August is making plans for the fall, which include some conversations. And actually, this is an extension of our strategic planning process, and the goals outlined in that plan is to really take a look at some of our programs and services and refine them, streamline them, reevaluate them. And so we will be coming back to you all at another point to talk about the Camp Scholarship Program, but For right now, our plan is to talk about holiday giving and share with you some changes that we would like to make to the program. And we've invited Christina to come to tonight's meeting because Christina is coordinating and executing the logistics of that program.
I have the PowerPoint slides. Let me share those with everyone. Is everyone able to see the slides? This was part of our packet as well.
Yes.
Okay. Christina.
Hello.
Hi, Christina.
Hi. Happy to be here. So I am very excited to present to you all some ideas and things that we have been discussing with the 2021 Holiday Giving Program. So as you all know, in 2019 and earlier, we had a different model. The families were provided with wrapped gifts that they had selected and written down on the application wish list that were fulfilled by donors. Last year, everything changed a little bit. I think Shannon and Sarah and the team did a wonderful job pivoting and moving that program towards gift cards to make it extremely successful for families. So families still filled out an application. They were still able to create a wish list for what they wanted, but selected stores where items could be, gift cards could be purchased, and those gift card choices were selected and fulfilled by the donors in 2020.
Can I just chime in really quickly? That was out of necessity because of the pandemic. Because we weren't going to be able to quarantine items, and it was going to be a big to-do to try to make that work. So that's for 2020.
We talked to some families and received some feedback about some issues in the previous model, so 2019 and earlier. So we listed some of them here. Some of the things that were brought to our attention were that specific gifts weren't fulfilled. So if someone asked for a jacket, that donor either wasn't able to find it, let's say a toy was sold out, they weren't able to purchase it, they were just kind of left without a gift to give. Some mistakes were made. We had a terrible, embarrassing moment, I should say, from a mom that said on Christmas morning, her son unwrapped a box of pink cleats. Clearly a mistake that was overlooked when purchasing the gift for the family. But again, mom couldn't really explain it, so it put the family in a difficult situation. Kids change their minds. I know if I asked my 5-year-old today what he wanted for Christmas, it's going to be different than what he wants to open on Christmas Day. So they might have a change of heart of what they want. We've had some questioning. The donor say, does this 10-year-old boy really wear like adult men underwear, size large? Well, yes, it's a kind of a difficult situation where we don't want to have to confirm and report back to the donors and say, yes, this is what was asked for, but that's what has happened. There have been some situations where the older children, some of the teenagers might not get selected. If it's like a giving tree where everyone selects a name, everyone wants kind of the younger fun ones. And we've had some older kids or some children left out. And we've had cases where groups are late turning in gifts. It's hard for a timeline in turning those around. So these are just some of the issues that we have seen in past models when there are actual gifts that are wrapped and handed to us. So for this year, we would like to continue with the gift card model. In this way, the families can either purchase their choice gift for their children, or they can give the gift card to the family. In talking about this, we realized it was extremely important to have the family's feedback. So I created a short survey of maybe 5 or 6 questions and sent it out to all of the 2020 families, asking Did you participate in 2020? Are you anticipating participating in 2021? Would you be comfortable, or would it create any hardship if we moved solely towards a gift card model? And overwhelming response was that they appreciated and valued the gift card model, as it created more of an opportunity for them to dive into the joy of the holidays and purchase gifts for their families and have that joy themselves, rather than just receiving the gifts and handing them off. So with the support from the families, we were excited to kind of have that affirmation and confirmation that there is hope for 2021 moving forward with this model, creating a little bit more of a streamline for us, not having to house all of the gifts and collect the gifts and hand them big trash bags off to families. So that was appreciated and provided great value to us. We received some really great testimonials from the families. I'll let you guys take a moment to read this, but the overwhelming response of the positivity that came from the gift cards, allowing them to purchase the gifts themselves, really worked out well and was exactly what we had hoped for.
Thank you, Christina.
With this, I also wanted to have a kind of conversation or discussion about the overall model of holiday giving, and moving it towards an annual giving program, where it is more of a campaign that invites donors to give not only towards holiday giving, but may also support some other programs throughout the year that generally carry over, like camp, or what used to be, I'm totally blanking on the term.
Something special?
Something special, but just those needs throughout the year that come up. This annual campaign would support that. And brainstorming, we came up with the idea of calling it Winter Wishes, where it is an end of year campaign that would primarily fund the holiday giving program, but also includes other programs as well that might be outside of the holidays to offer some more inclusion for different folks and community members, as well as youth and family programs.
Can I just ask for an opportunity? I don't know if she has any thoughts, but Shannon, I'm looking at you as the person who previously coordinated this. If you have any other thoughts or feedback that you wanted to share about the program.
No, I don't think so. I think that Christina encompasses everything that, you know, has gone right, has not gone so great. You know, I really feel like this model circumvents any, you know, issues that we've come across in the past. I really love the idea to be able to do more of a program that helps out throughout the year. You know, the focus will continue to be in the holidays and, you know, around those needs, but there are so many families that, you know, it's either they don't celebrate those holidays, or, you know, other needs come up during the year. So to be able to help out, I think would be awesome. So.
What are the options for fundraising for this, if you just briefly, or the sources to purchase the gift cards, I guess?
So it would be similar to what we did last year, which is just asking for community donations. And it's pretty much what we've done every year. So instead of asking for specific gifts, we throw it out there that there are certain stores that people ask donations from. So for instance, to support the entire family, things like grocery and gas cards, families always ask for Target and Walmart cards. What are some other ones, Christina, like Amazon?
Marshalls for clothing.
Are you asking people to donate money to purchase the cards or people to donate the cards?
Whichever one works better for them.
Okay, it sounds pretty flexible, actually. It sounds like it would be COVID proof and a very flexible way to get people what they really would love.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of it. And also, we really want this to be about the families.
Yeah.
While we are incredibly appreciative of the generosity of our donors, we have to be really careful not to be prioritizing their needs to, engaging in the donation process really lifts a lot of people's spirits. They love it. They love to go shopping but the priority here is really about the families. And for a lot of parents, they've had to experience some pretty embarrassing conversations on Christmas morning, which is unfortunate. Either somebody has slipped a card into a gift that they didn't know, and they have to explain who Paula is, and they didn't know it was there, or there's a mistake. I think one of the other things that's happened, Christina highlighted, is that somebody completely by accident wrapped an empty box. They forgot to put the item in the box. And so, this gives parents control. It preserves their dignity. It also allows them the opportunity to shop for their own children. That same feeling that the donors get, this gives to the parents of those families, which I think is really important and our priority. So yes, it's very flexible, but it's also about prioritizing the families.
I like the fact that we're kind of moving beyond just children too, and focusing more on the family and family wishes, being the winter wishes kind of concept. I know that in the past, we really focused on making the holiday special for children, but maybe this gives us the opportunity to encompass the whole family, as well as things just beyond the holidays too. I think that to make this more inclusive for people who might not celebrate things in the winter, just, kind of an opportunity to gauge, I don't know, reach out to families who might be in need to provide even just basic needs, like the grocery card or the gas card, or, I need my fuel bill paid. I don't know, but I think that it really is more inclusive and more future thinking than just the holidays. So I like that part of the program a lot. So I don't know though, because in the past we've kind of always counted on families coming to us. Like I want, I don't know how we're going to do the catchment of who might need stuff as part of the Winter Wishes program. I think it probably goes further and beyond just, kids getting a new pair of cleats or new underwear or whatever. This might be a little more, a bigger net that we're going to be casting. So.
Looks like Beth has, Beth.
I was wondering if there's an outline for like a target date of when the gift cards would get out to the families.
So the program would actually run the exact same way. We would still send out the applications to the families, ideally beginning of September. We would have our flyers go out to the community calling for groups and donations, whether that is gift cards or monetary donations, having groups collect cards. The families will have due dates to have their applications back by, and we'll still have the same target date of early December for handing out the gift cards to the families once they're all sorted out. So the timeline will be exactly the same.
So it
Okay,
actually,
so
like,
It's
if
actually,
I was,
the way you're actually, it was a little bit different before it was gift cards because you would get
Right.
the presents like a week before Christmas, which, so if you're
Oh.
getting, if you're
We were
getting
just
gift
gonna say
cards,
that.
Okay.
I think Shannon and I were both gonna jump in.
working,
It's
that would be
exactly the
really
same as it
difficult
was
for them
last
to,
year.
you know, get
Yeah.
their shopping done.
Right, so it would be more on par with what we did last year,
Last
which exactly what you're saying, Beth, is that, you know, somebody needed to do some online shopping and they're waiting for
Yeah.
things to arrive to the house or,
Yeah.
like you said, work or whatever, that, you know, often we try to get the gifts out 2 years ago when, you know, pre-COVID times. At least a week before, sometimes, you know, it could be like 5 days before
Yeah.
Christmas or something. Whereas now, definitely it needs to happen probably a couple of weeks at least before.
At
Right.
least, so like if, like you say, if they order things and then
Yeah.
they find
Yeah,
out it's back ordered or,
Yep.
you know, time to wrap presents and just, you know, everything, all the craziness that people have to do. But I do agree that this gives the parents a joy of shopping themselves. I think that's a really special and important piece of this
Mhm.
program.
Right. The other piece too, which we didn't really highlight, was that it always felt very uncomfortable to be handing trash bags over to families. I mean, we couldn't find bags big enough. We thought about ordering some, but it's still just the whole thing. I mean, there was a lot of challenges, and this just feels like it's more about, you know, again, preserving dignity of families and making them feel as comfortable as possible and experiencing the joy that our donors get to often feel, which, you know, again, we are very, very appreciative of.
Yeah, and
the
sometimes when you're shopping, you know, you see something that you hadn't even thought of that you're like,
Right.
oh, you know, little Susie would love this or whatever, you know, it's this spur of the moment,
Mhm.
you know, what
It
the holidays
empowers the parents a little bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
love
think
the
that-
idea. I love the idea.
How
yeah.
about for families who don't celebrate Hanukkah or Christmas or one of the winter holidays? Should we consider how to be inclusive of them and their needs?
That's where I appreciate your question, Sarah, about how are we going to cast a wider net here? Because if we're trying to be more inclusive, so typically this goes out through the schools, and in which case we can continue to do that, only letting people know, you know, that this is, the goal is to be more inclusive. And so hopefully they haven't been limiting who they give applications to based off of whether they celebrate a particular holiday or not. But you know, we were even thinking that there's, you know, even if an older couple, for example, in town had experienced a fire at some point, or a family had experienced a loss of some kind that year, that, you know, it doesn't have to be single focused on children's experience, although that's a piece of it, but that we, you know, we might be in touch with churches in addition to the schools. We might be in touch with other town departments. And again, you know, some of it would be sort of donations that come in that might be sort of unrestricted, that could be things that we hear about later in the year that we could help to try to support people.
Yeah, I think if, you know, maybe the Council on Aging, there might be several people that are shut in, that are lonely, that would appreciate some kind of recognition at the holidays or at the end of the year. I think you're right. I think families who've had hardship might appreciate some small gifts and acknowledgement. So I love the fact, I think kids love the holidays and Christmas and Hanukkah and all those things, but there you know, I know from a preschool teacher that we've really tried to, over the past 10 years, tried to figure out how to be more inclusive in the
Mhm.
whole end
Mhm.
of the year holiday extravaganza. And
Mhm.
I would just like to be able to, you know, at the, you know, it's a New Year's gift. You know, we know you've had a hard time and we really, you know, here is $200 for Stop and Shop or whatever, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. And just to again reiterate the appreciation we have for the generosity that we see every year, we're always in awe of how much people donate during that time of year. And to be quite honest, it's hard for us to spend all of that in one program, you know, and we are often short on what we need for funding for the Camp Scholarship Program. I do want to just go back to Marguerite's point about fundraising and just be really clear that this isn't fundraising, that this program completely funds itself. We end up sort of just being a conduit. So we are not keeping any money. If money is donated, then the money is spent on gift cards and the gift cards are given out. If gift cards are donated, we collect the gift cards and then we distribute the gift cards. The Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission does play a role in that they sort of become a fiscal sponsor for any monetary donations that come in. So the department is not actually handling any money that's being donated. It goes to the Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission, and then they purchase any of the gift cards that we need that have, you know, that have not been fulfilled, and then we give it to the families.
So does it, if say a family wanted to write a check, would you be writing the check to Friends for the annual giving program, or would you be making it out to the annual giving program? It should go to Friends
It would be
still.
made out to Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission.
Okay, thank you.
And they can note, you know, holiday giving if they want
Right.
to. So, so in the past, we've had a cutoff because obviously you can't be shopping up to the last minute. So, will this program with just, you know, going all gift cards, will it also be a cutoff for that? And what would happen with the gift cards if there is going to be a cutoff? Like before we would roll the money over to the next year.
Right. Well, Friends would have the ability to do that as it's going to them. It would be earmarked with them for holiday giving, at which point they can decide to have funds available for the subsequent year, or, you know, we come to them regularly to say, you know, we could use a gift card for X or Y, and at that time they could spend the money.
So, but if there are specifically gift cards donated, the
right.
Friends would hold them and then you would ask them for it if they had for that.
Right. Yeah. There's also, you know, I need to have a conversation with them, because if we're talking about making this a time of year or a campaign of sorts that helps to feed or fund several programs, then they'll, you know, want to consider a mechanism for having people decide, you know, is this unrestricted? You know, we're hoping for the most part that the community is just going to strictly donate gift cards so that we can just then give the gift cards. When people are donating money towards the program, that's where we have to involve Friends and consult with them on how they want to handle that. But donors can earmark money for specific things. So if they want to give the gift of a camp scholarship, they can indicate that when they make a donation, for example.
And during the process, we also reach out to some community businesses that donate like a check for the program, which allows us to fill in the gaps of any missing cards we have, or support additional programs, just like grocery cards so that we're able to supplement with additional grocery cards for every family.
Mhm, mhm.
Are we gonna ask for specific kinds of gift cards? Or are we just gonna just go willy-nilly?
So there's a list of 5 or 6 that the majority, it fills those needs. And then there are some that are specific, something like a Dick's Sporting Goods. Those
Yeah.
work well for that middle-age group or the teen group, where some of the younger kids or even families can find everything they need at Walmart or Target.
Mhm.
So I think we usually say Walmart, Target, Amazon, Stop and Shop
Mhm.
usually covers everything. Marshall's, TJ Maxx, that's
Mhm.
wide enough net that they can go to different stores. It's all the same card.
And families, when they're filling out their application, can
Mhm.
indicate which gift cards they're looking for.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that presentation. I think we can maybe move on to another topic. This was more for informational purposes. We weren't going to take a vote on this.
I think it sounds great.
I think so too.
Thank you for the presentation.
Right. Thank you for coming, Christina.
Thank you. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice seeing you.
So for the director's report, Sarah, we have on here a few components of the director's report plus your highlights. If you can, would mind tackling some of that?
Sure. Okay, so I've got my highlights there. Also included is we received a mid-year report from Interface Referral Service, which I included in the packet to share with you all. That actually came in June, but we were pretty bogged down with trying to finish our strategic plan and making sure that we had an opportunity to present the strategic plan to you all at the last meeting. So I apologize for the delay on getting it to you, but it's in the packet and I will get to that in a minute. So summer is comparatively much quieter for us. There's not as even our usual clients are actually away a lot of the time. So we've had a bit of an increase in doing virtual appointments with people. I really don't know what the fall is going to look like. I'm interested to see that. So we've been doing a lot of planning during the summer months, and we've also ourselves been taking some time off. It was quite a marathon leading up to this summer. And so as a result, I can at least speak for myself personally. It had been quite a bit of time since I had taken any time, had seen any family. So we did take some time this summer, which has been really rejuvenating for us, which we appreciate. So I've been mostly we've been trying to implement the earliest stages of our strategic plan. And I did amend the director's report to include for you how we've been doing that. I think the thing that I'm most excited about are some of the gains we've made regarding IT support in our office. We still have quite a ways to go. But I've had maybe 3 or 4 meetings with the new IT director at this point, which has been great. He's been very attentive and helpful and trying to help us implement some systems, and we're still searching for more. So we've been doing some planning this summer. We've been continuing with camperships to reach out to families, make sure that they're having a positive experience and that they're attending the weeks that they're supposed to. I know staff has been engaging in a lot of trainings. And then we've had a lot of sort of business as usual meetings, which have been great to do so under a little less pressure. The other thing that has been an area of focus is the American Rescue Plan Fund Act, and thinking about ways that we might be able to leverage any of those resources. So the town, having talked with Chelsea Malinowski, who's our Board of Selectmen liaison, about that process. So the town has received some funding from the government. However, they're going slow in order to go fast. So it's really important that they know how to sort of create a process by which people can apply for those funds. They've also hired a consultant who's really familiar with the ins and outs of that act and what qualifies. So they're putting all of these really important steps in place in order to be able to then field some requests and inquiries around those funds. So I did provide for you in the director's report a list that I had given to town administration about some ideas on how our department might utilize some of those funds. Behavioral health and substance abuse prevention are two areas outlined in the act. And so there is, it is highlighted, and so there's opportunity there for us to possibly leverage those resources. The other thing, this is sort of more dipping into the month of August, but I'm also starting to work on the Southborough Community Fund grant applications. And so we're kind of balancing two possible resources to tap into with regard to some of these items that are listed here. Before let's see, I'll just highlight the strategic planning process again. I'm really trying to, as much as possible, focus on goals 1 and 2 before moving to goals 3 and 4. To me, goals 1 and 2 really are about foundations and making sure that we have, that we're strengthening our foundation and not just doing what we typically do every year, but really trying to be more thoughtful and strategic about what services we're offering. Behavioral health services are really in demand, as are social services. And so, you know, we have to be really mindful about how staff are spending their time so that we can really prioritize our time for the most critical pieces. In goal number 1, as I said, I've been meeting with the IT director to try to implement some HIPAA compliant systems. I will be chatting with you further on in the agenda about one of those, but we've talked with him about an electronic medical records system, which has been brought to the board previously, but it was put on hold when we had a when we didn't have an IT director. And so we continue to have conversations about that. We also included in your in the director's report is some office hours. It seems kind of silly, but I'm very excited to be able to offer office hours. Never in the history of our department have we had office hours. And so, and we haven't been able to really offer it before now because the summer has been so variable. And then before that, pretty unpredictable. So I feel pretty confident that what we've established, we are going to be able to stick to. And so we will be advertising that to the public. But that's part of goal number one also, is to try to streamline how we triage calls, how we triage people coming in, and we've never been able to have all communications go through one person. It's still going to take some adjusting, but it will be very helpful in taking data and having a better sense of which of our services are most in demand. What else can I tell you? Some of the things that the Youth Commission I highlighted that you all have been working on, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about tonight. And then, really we've just been trying to focus on what services do we currently offer, reevaluate them, fine tune them, consider what doesn't make sense for us, what does. And Shannon specifically has really been gearing up to do more outreach and prevention work, which is the role that we're kind of shifting her into, which is very exciting. And one of the things that was highlighted in our community needs assessment was that we really need to do a lot more of that there's definitely a need out there, but that there's so many people in the Southborough community who don't know anything about our department, don't know we exist, don't know what we do. And so we need to do a better job of building more connections and doing more outreach to share that information. So I think coming up, we're going to continue to work with the IT director on implementing systems. I listed for you a number of upcoming meetings and trainings that are happening. One thing I regretfully did not include here, we have our new graduate level intern starting with us in September. Her name's Dawn. We're excited for her to join us. That will be helpful. I guess one other thing to mention too, which again is getting into August. I'm going to run out of things to tell you about August next time we meet, but I'm also going to be offering some walk-in mental health support and consultation appointments 2 days a week, just because I anticipate there may be a need for that, and also trying to diversify the type of mental health services we offer so that we can try to catch things earlier and help people sooner. So I said a lot of stuff there. I mentioned that we put fall office hours in there so you can see what that's going to look like. The interface mid-year report, which is great. We've been getting a lot of usage. And I don't know if there's anything else.
I wanted to just touch base on in-person services that you'd be providing with the positivity rate increasing. How are you guys feeling about that? Will you be masked inside?
Oh yeah, we are personal decisions aside, we're mandated to follow behavioral health services across the state have always had to continue wearing masks. So in our office, we have been wearing masks continuously for any time that we're working with residents. And now we did have the ability to be with one another as staff without our masks if we were vaccinated. That has changed. Now all employees are asked to wear masks indoors in town buildings again. So that is is the case. So we've got two different mandates. One is about what the state is saying we need to do as a behavioral health service provider, and then the other, which is what the Board of Health and town administration is telling us we have to do. So, but we are still offering in-person services. We do distance as much as we can. We do have permission to use one of our smaller office spaces, but that might change down the line. We do have, those of you who have been in my office, it's a bit bigger, so we do have room to spread out a little bit more, which is great.
Are you still offering virtual appointments for counseling and other kind of service outreach?
We are where it's clinically appropriate. So early on, when we were transitioning out of virtual appointments back to in-person, we prioritized in-person services for people who had who were experiencing suicidality or self-injury. And we can't assess people virtually in those cases.
Yes,
it's very difficult to, and so so there are, you know, certainly if someone's not comfortable coming in, I know Megan has appointments weekly with somebody who it's just their comfort level and their preference to meet virtually, and that's been totally fine. But it's worked out okay because the risk factors are not there. So as soon as we have that level of concern about somebody, we ask that they come in.
That makes sense. I do think that the delivery of mental health and behavioral health through remote access has actually been a bit of a godsend. I think it gives people a non-threatening way to access services, and most of the people I know who they were kind of against virtual or remote mental health services now are all on board. You're comfortable, you're in your home, unless you're in a threatening situation or you can't find a safe place or you're unsafe, as you say. It might not be, but I do think that there is going to continue to be a place in service delivery in a virtual capacity. So I love it.
No parking problems.
Right.
Yeah, and you only have to dress from the waist up.
I just had a quick question. How's the messaging? I mean, interface is available to everybody in town, correct? Everybody who's a resident. How is the messaging going for that? And does everybody in town know this?
I can't answer that because I don't know everybody in town, but we certainly do our best to push the information. So we have another round of outreach efforts coming up. Marguerite, you probably remember standing with me at town meeting with our blue bags full of materials. So at town meeting, we gave out some outreach bags. Every bag had information about interface referral service in it, as well as some additional, sorry, I got distracted by a cat trying to kiss Sue. Sorry, Sue, I know you were trying to be discreet.
Sorry.
So we've shared the information that way. We are going to be doing the same thing at all of the schools' open houses, where we're giving out the information there. They also, residents don't have to come through us. So we've shared the information with all of the schools, so they're aware of it. They've even tapped into the resource or given people the information directly.
Police
We
department?
refer people there a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Police
what?
department, is the police department?
I have mentioned it to them. I don't know if, I am sure that, like all of us, they may benefit from a reminder that it's there since it's still pretty new. So I know Shannon actually is in the process of reaching out to them about a few other things. So we can make sure to remind them about interface referral service.
Because
too.
it sounds so wonderful. That,
It is. It is. I will say, you know, they are not magicians, so they can't create things where they don't exist. And so they have been challenged this year. There's only so many providers in Massachusetts. There's only so many openings per provider. And not to mention that they're not just going to throw anybody your way. They want it to be a good match. And so that really narrows things down. But the benefit there is that you've got people working full time, and this is all they do. They try Monday through Friday during their business hours, trying to find people providers, and that's all they do. And if they're struggling, imagine what it's like for a single individual who's trying to do this for their own family member. So it's really helpful to have them on your team and to be looking for providers along with you. We've got several families who still will look on their own and have interface help because it's just that difficult.
It's incredibly difficult out there from my own personal experience. I'd like you to know that most of the practitioners in our community, their practices are closed. It's very frustrating. Advocates, which is a great community resource, has a 6-month waiting list for people. It's 6 months. And that's even for people in pretty dire straits. So I'm happy for interface. I think that God bless them, I think it's a very challenging job right now. And I was impressed that they were able to connect 33 people to resources. But it is a desert out there right now. And
I'd
yes.
love to just jump in and say that it's worked beautifully with our transition to a short-term model, because without interface, what ends up happening is that we end up taking on lots of people and we have no mechanism to move them on somewhere else, which means that we have a backup. Basically, we have no openings. So because we have a mechanism now to help people move on and find sustainable long-term, that means that we have more immediate openings that we can help people while they're waiting, or we can be responsive to urgent, time-sensitive needs. And so I'm sorry to report that we've done so many safety assessments on people this spring and summer, that people are just really struggling. But how great is it that this resource is available, that they can come in and that we have the openings available for them to do so because we have interface to be able to move people. So it's really fit in very nicely. And we're very appreciative.
Yeah, and I think that's great. It's a great synergy between the two types. So the short term and the long term. So it might take interface a couple weeks actually, or maybe longer to find a placement for that person, but it's not like they're being left, to their own devices. You're there to provide some services in the short term. So I think that's a really great beneficial model, because a lot of people I know are being told go to the hospital and they don't have acute mental health needs, but they want to see somebody soon, and they're told go to the emergency room. And it's very frustrating for a lot of people out there right now. So
I'd like to just circle back to, sorry to interrupt, to highlight Shannon's work in prevention too, because that fits in beautifully with this model as well. So some of what Shannon's going to be rolling out this fall is some suicide prevention trainings for the community. You guys probably remember us doing mental health first aid. This is focused strictly on suicide prevention. I'm going to give her an opportunity, maybe not now, because I think you'll have more to say about it in a subsequent month, but I think that fits in really nicely too, where we need to do more in the area of prevention to try to help curb things before they become an issue and help maintain people's health and wellness wherever we can.
I think the training that you did online, we know several people that took the training who said that every high school kid should have to take it as part of their health class. We're so impressed by that. So I know we've talked about this for years, but the prevention part is such a big part of what you guys do. So I can't imagine that I hope that you're not going to get, that you will get the support for that. It's huge.
Thank you very much. Sarah, just to wrap up the director's outreach section, you touched on outreach, but we had two specific examples of outreach that were coming up. One of which is the open house for all the schools, the orientation day, which is next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And did you have any comment about that right now that you wanted to make, or did any of the board members have any questions about that?
Yeah, so the school district is doing things a little bit different this year in that they are having all of the open houses on the same day, with the exception of Trotter and Algonquin. But the elementary schools are all on the same day, but with a longer span of time. So unfortunately, we aren't magicians either. We can't be everywhere at the same time. So we did send out an email, or Christina sent out an email offering an opportunity for board members to help us with that. And thank you to those of you who signed up. It is more comfortable doing things in pairs. And so she did update the sign up sheet so that if a board member was able to attend with another person, frankly, people are more likely to stop and talk to a pair of people versus someone who's standing there sort of looking a little awkward and nervous. So that's another reason to do it. I find that I have to be like extra outgoing and comfortable and project that to people so that they feel comfortable coming to talk to me. So just another reason, if you haven't already and you want to sign up for a slot, that would be very helpful. And once we get closer, we're going to reach out to those who have signed up to let you know what our plan is. It's literally, we're not going to be doing much except for saying hello and smiling, but handing out outreach materials about Interface, about some of our other programs in those bags, the same bags that we passed out at.
Oh, good. We still have more of those? We have
Yes,
more.
we ordered a lot of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the Heritage Day? That's
Yeah, so
coming up.
Shannon's been sort of tasked with trying to find outreach opportunities every month. Historically, we have gone to Heritage Day as a department, as a board, and had a table there. Sometimes we've done activities. Some of you may have remembered there was one year we hired a family photographer and we offered family portraits. Other years, if the quilt that's hanging in our reception room was a product of Heritage Day one year. So again, since outreach and connecting to the community and getting out of our office is really important, Heritage Day would be a nice opportunity for that. And but we can't staff the entire day.
Do you know when Heritage Day is going to be this year?
It's typically Columbus Day.
All right.
Is that right? Do I have that right?
That's right. That's definitely right.
October 11th, but it's it's on for sure? Do we know if it's on?
As
That's
of
kinda
right
what
now,
I'm
it's on.
wondering.
Yep. Yep. And my thought, actually, Shannon, do you want to talk about what your thoughts were? Some possibilities?
Sure. So that is happening. We just said the date, October 11th,
Mhm.
I think. And a few days before that, I want to say, I'm sorry, I don't have the date right in front of me. It's like October 7th or something, is National Depression Awareness Screening Day. So I was hoping that we could do some social media awareness stuff before that happened, and then to be able to offer some depression / anxiety screenings while we're there. So we would use just a tool, a paper tool that people can quickly fill out, and from there, hopefully be able to make appointments. We may have therapy notes. Is that what it's
Yes,
called?
yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
maybe. But regardless, like one of the important pieces of doing that kind of outreach is that it would be, as you can imagine, a shame if, somebody comes up and we do identify them as being, at risk of depression, having depression, and not being able to follow up to send them anywhere. So the hope is to be able to right there, make an appointment with them, or to make the referral to Interface at the very least.
Mhm. Yeah.
So.
So are you having like a private tent or something for this to happen? I don't know if you've ever been to Heritage Day, Shannon.
Yeah, yep.
It's so busy and crowded and kids running everywhere. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
So that's
don't
kind
know.
of why doing that quick follow-up is so important, because I don't think we'd be able to do, therapy on this spot,
Mhm.
or to do anything that's super private. But that if that tool is available, somebody looks at it, they take, they do it right there and say, you know what, looks like something that I should probably follow up with, that we're going to be there to say, absolutely, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Come on in and we'll make an appointment for you. Or if they're like, I don't know, we can
Yeah.
say, this is Interface, this is what Interface is all about. So.
Or at the very least, we can give them our information. Many people are not going to feel comfortable filling that out while there. I understand the concern with that, because it's a festive environment and it's chaotic, and in which case, they can take it home, but we're going to provide them with our information in addition to that. But the hope is, in truly doing outreach, that we're building relationships and providing, we're an unknown entity. We need to firsthand build some relationships with people, so that for many people, it's about comfort with going in to talk to somebody they don't know. And so even if we don't have that conversation, we want to have several different options about, you can take this while you're here, you can take it home, here's our information. Maybe I would assume that we would also just have some general fact information about depression, and potentially anxiety also, which we're seeing a lot of right now. So, but it's about building relationships and sort of breaking down barriers too.
Great, thank you. So
I'm sorry, Lauren, just to
go ahead,
recap on that, we'll probably do a sign up sheet for that as well. Because as I said, we won't be able to staff the whole day. So if board members would be available to join us, that would be great.
And I wrote down a note. It sounds like you might be doing some outreach monthly and might have at least a potential for some monthly outreach.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And actually, as you're navigating your life in Southborough, if you can, if you think of something as a place to do some outreach,
Mhm.
that's clever, that's different, that's, a group of people that are meeting that we're not necessarily aware of, please let us know, let me know, because we definitely want to reach as many people as we can.
We, at the beginning of September, we do parent conferences at the preschool, and I could put a table together. We meet with each of the families and the kids, and maybe we just have a table with some of the information. I don't know if I could staff it. I mean, we could have another member come in and staff it, but I think if we just had flyers and whatever else, I'd be happy to put something together. And we do have over 130 families come through, so it's a good opportunity.
That's great.
I like that. I also like the senior center, if there's something that we could possibly do there too. At one of their activities, or talk to Pam about that.
Okay, thank you. This also slides us into the strategic planning, ongoing discussions with relation to the strategic plan goals. And we've split that into Southborough Youth and Family Service goals and then Youth Commission Board goals. Sarah's already, her director's report outlined how they're moving forward with the strategic planning goals for Southborough Youth and Family Services. I'm not sure if we need, do you have anything you would like to add at this time? You've already covered most of that. And then I would just say, just very briefly, for the Youth Commission Board, outreach was one of the, utilizing board members for outreach was one of the objectives. Recruiting new board members when the vacancy occurred with specialized skills and experiences. We're working on that. The new board member job descriptions we'll be looking at this evening. And just in general, utilizing members of the Southborough Youth Commission as ambassadors or allies for the department to meet your outreach goals. So I think all of this discussion really plays into keeping the Youth Commission also on track for the strategic plan goals. Any comment on that? I think this is the, all right. We're going to review the job descriptions. It's already been written. We've looked at it once before at a past meeting, but we didn't vote on it. I am not the greatest at sharing, but.
That's not true.
Oh, sorry.
You'll have to come back to preschool if you don't know how to share.
I'm sorry if, Sarah, you don't happen to be able to share that faster than me, do you?
Yes, I can do that.
If you have it up faster, and
I have it pulled up, but I'm not able to share my screen. Can you?
There you go.
Make me, oh, did you get it?
I made all panelists be able to.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
This is my first Zoom facilitation, so I'm still
Doing a great job.
I'm so glad it's you.
Can you all
Right,
see
so
my screen?
I can, yes.
I can see it. I can see it.
So we've looked at this before and had an opportunity to discuss. I remember that one of the main points of discussion before was related to this chair approving expenses for the donation account under 250 without convening of the board. My recollection is that that was discussed but if anyone would like to add to that discussion for, I think we agreed on that in the end, but there's been no formal vote. So if everyone had an opportunity to review the job descriptions of chair, vice chair, we've already read through it once. Should we read through it again, or if everyone, is there anyone who has not had the opportunity to review this?
I have reviewed it.
Okay.
and are
Can
happy
you,
with it.
can you scroll up so we can see? Yeah, thank you. So the only one thing that I would like to comment on is on the secretary to send out the minutes to the entire board. So usually the our wonderful secretary, Sarah, sends the minutes to the department. And I think that it should be sent to the board at the same time. That's the only thing that I have to say about any of it.
Yeah,
No, go ahead, please.
yeah, well, I've worked it out with Christina that I send them to her and then she sends them out with the packet for the next meeting, so for your review. So we've kind of ironed out some of the wrinkles. Sometimes I would just like attach them to previous emails sent out, but I did try to send them out to all members. Unfortunately, my town email, I can't get working, and the IT guys very busy talking to you and everybody else. And so I'm kind of hung out there to dry. So until I can work out those wrinkles, I decided that going through Christina, she's very efficient and effective. And I think sending them in the packet is probably the most efficient and effective way. So
I feel like having them go out in the packet, we really can't comment when we receive them anyway. So I'd rather have them in one place and not receive two different copies of it. One, I don't know. That's just my thought on that.
yeah.
Sarah?
I was just gonna add, I think that the reason that we ended up doing it that way was for that very purpose, because you're gonna be getting a bunch of different things. You'll get the agenda, there'll be other packet documents. And so the thought was to streamline that by having everything go to Christina so that when she posts the meeting, you'll get everything in one email versus several different ones and having to chase the information.
And she's really serving as an extension of our board in that regard, I would say. Well, I don't know. I can't say that. She's not a voting member of our board, but she's serving in an administrative capacity to do certain tasks.
Is that okay with the way things should be run, Lauren, or?
My understanding is that it is. I was just speaking with Chelsea Malinowski the other day, and she was encouraging me to utilize that opportunity to have Christina assist with that type of service.
I think that would be an effective way of using our time and her time. I'm happy with that because I never knew if whatever I was sending out was going to all the appropriate people and so on and so forth. And having one email pre-meeting, monthly meeting is great with all the information. And then when I need to submit the notes to the town after they're approved, all those documents are in one place, and it makes it a lot easier for me to, because I have to, with in the minutes, any document that we reviewed in the meeting has to be attached to the minutes. So makes my job a little easier.
No, I like the packet idea as well.
Okay. Sarah, can you scroll down to just the all board members?
So wait, we need
Oh,
to
sure.
finish. If it's going to be different than written here, we have to vote to amend it and and approve the change, make a change, I would think.
Which point on the bullet point?
The second one down where it says type up minutes and send to the entire board. So if you're working it out differently, then it should be described as such there.
Right, so that would be to type up minutes and send to
Submit to,
Southborough Youth and Family Services Admin Assistant
yeah,
1 week ahead of subsequent meeting, and think, yeah, just would that alone suffice, or should I be on there as well, or the, excuse me, the chair of the board? That could just be a backup to make sure it was done, or something like.
yeah, I think that you should definitely be alerted. I usually send them to Sarah too, but to you and to the admin, I think would be sufficient.
So type of meetings and send to the Youth Commission Chair and the SYFS Admin Assistant 1 week ahead of subsequent meeting.
Yep.
Beth, does that work?
Yes,
Okay.
so need a motion for that, right?
We are, I think we'll approve the whole,
It's amended.
this is not approved yet at all, so we're not amending anything. We would have a motion on the entire document, and there might be more changes, is my thinking.
Mhm.
I did have one question. It says complete state ethics test yearly. I believe, does Amy Berry keep up with all of that information, and does she tell
Mhm.
us? So we
Yeah.
individually would get information that it's due for us?
Yes. She
Okay.
sends you a link to the online resources.
All right, so we don't have to have someone in our group that keeps up with that, so that's good.
No.
Okay.
Is it just the ethics, or is there another thing we need to do? I feel like we do 2 modules.
I just had to send 2 off.
Yeah. Do you remember what, there's the ethics?
No, I'm gonna go and look back here and see.
Yeah. I know.
But she will let you know.
She will.
She definitely will email you, and then, because I didn't do it in a timely fashion, Lauren mentioned that to me, so, which I was very grateful for, so, but Amy's on top of that too.
Okay.
And it went to both, my town email and my personal.
Personal, yeah.
Can you scroll down to the director? Do we need a director's? I guess we do, because we're defining, it's more of a definition of how these roles are used on our board.
Yeah, it's just to kind of give the expectation as to how I'll participate, or whoever the director is will participate.
With the chair, vice chair, and admin, that is correct.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep. We've been doing that. And I think as long as we have spelled out what the admin assistant is doing, that's great. Right. And I guess under the very last bullet point, finalize agenda and meeting packet. I'm not, so yes, okay, so finalize in the sense of type up the agenda. The role is not to develop it or anything. It's what's the word for that? You kind of using a template, and does that work for everyone? Finalize agenda, or is there another wording for that? So during that agenda
I
meeting,
understand what you're saying. I
About-
can't,
Just
Go ahead.
Submit agenda and meeting packet to
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, or distribute agenda and meeting packet.
Although, Lauren, following the agenda setting meeting, she does sort of take all the thoughts and then send it to you and to Beth for approval. And so,
right? She did, but in our last meeting, we also, well, she was having technical difficulties, I think. That's why we did that. We wanted to be able to look at it on screen during the agenda meeting.
You could put like expedite completion of
so there you go.
monthly agenda. The bullet point ahead, above that too has the youth commission president. I don't, do we have a president?
that's the Friends of the South.
Oh,
Bergen
Friends.
Commission.
Oh,
Yeah.
friends. Oh, okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
they do. All right. Any additional comments on the job descriptions? And do I have a motion as, or amendments? Which we've already stated the amendment, so maybe we should state one more time.
The amendments to the secretary's role, type up minutes and send minutes to SYFS admin and chairperson.
And then under the admin to expedite the completion of agenda.
Yeah,
Okay. So are you moving to amend in that?
So is that what we have to say?
Sorry, I don't know if you guys, I didn't realize this. There was one more page that had had more information on it.
I think that's fine, right? It's,
yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion to move as amended on the table. Yes. So I'll do a roll call for Susan Beyer.
Aye.
Sue
So
Buck-
somebody,
Oh, yes, please, go ahead.
does someone, okay, so I'll second the motion.
Oh, yes, okay, thank you.
So do I say aye again?
So let's do Susan Beyer again.
Aye.
Sue Buck,
aye.
Beth Dombucker,
Aye.
Sarah Micus,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie, aye. So that moves. So moves. We're back to the donation account expenditure approvals, and Sarah wanted to request, make a request for that.
Yes, so this was brought to you guys already. If you remember, feels like a year ago, we were talking about the board voted to approve some funding for two things. One was for an electronic medical records system, and the other was for language interpretation services. Does that ring a bell to people?
Yes.
The reason it's back is because we're talking about two different vendors now than what we had discussed previously. So included in your packet, and the reason we're talking about a different vendor for the electronic medical records is because the previous one that we had identified required that you make a payment by credit card, which we're not able to do. Whereas Therapy Notes is a cloud-based system, HIPAA compliant system that we can use, that we can pay for an entire year up front, which is fantastic. The other thing to note is that there are some additional costs associated that we can't calculate, that they're comfortable with us paying at the end of the year. So for example, what it does include free of charge is email reminders about upcoming appointments, but not all, especially some of our teenage clients, check their email, in which case we may need to utilize their text reminders and phone call reminders, which is great. Those are 14 cents per use. So if we were to sort of calculate, I kind of came up with a calculation for, you know, what that might look like if we used text reminders for every client we had for the entire year. So what's included in the packet is an invoice from Therapy Notes for an entire year up front. Trying to locate that. Sorry, I've got too many screens open here at one time. So I believe for the year, it's going to be 13. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Hopefully that's in your packet. Do
It
people
is.
have
It's-
that?
You added 1308.
Yeah. You have that, Lauren? I'm not finding it quickly.
It was part of the really long packet of minutes.
All right, I'm not sure I have the right packet here.
I didn't see anything that in the packet, but was it in one
It
of the,
was right after the meeting minutes.
all right.
It was.
I
It was
probably improved it.
I can go ahead and screen share so that people can see it. So this is from Therapy Notes. This would be for September 9th. Currently, we're utilizing their 30-day free trial, which expires on September 8th. And so this invoice would cover us for an entire year. Outlined here at the bottom is any other fees associated that we might incur, which we can pay at the end of the contract, or the subscription rather. It's not really a contract. The only thing on here that we would really be utilizing is the patient appointment reminders. The other things associated are related to billing, which we don't need to utilize.
And the current donation account balance, well, as of August 13th, was $8,491.73. So this is for 1,308 request.
Right. Oh, and to calculate, so let's say we had 50 clients and we were seeing them every week, and we needed to send a text reminder to them every week. The figure that we would be looking at the end of the year would roughly be about between $400 and $500 if we texted reminders to every single client. Our default will be to utilize the free email appointment reminder option. So I'm looking to find out from the board if we can if our default is to use the free option, but that if we need to, we have the option to send phone call or text reminders to people about their appointments.
And I think we're looking for a vote on this. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're
Sarah,
making
can
a
you tell
motion.
me about is this a web-based program or is this?
It's a cloud-based program that we log into. We all have logins. It's HIPAA compliant. It has a client portal, which allows us to send and receive documents from residents. It allows us to communicate with them. This is for mental health support services or for anybody who has that it makes sense for us to build a case file for. So in some cases, we have clients who maybe aren't coming for mental health support, but are coming to receive assistance with emergency funds or, have more of a case management need, in which case we can use this to house all of their documents. And can also, one of the things I'm most excited about is scheduling. We spend a great deal of time going back and forth with residents, trying to figure out a time that works for our next appointment with them. And it's tedious and it's time that could be better spent elsewhere. And so this allows residents to log in and choose an appointment time all on their own. It's not going to work for every one of our clients that we work with, because some of them might need us to be a little more proactive with them and scheduling, but it is a nice option, and we'll cut down on some of the more of the minutia, I guess, of trying to navigate that.
Can clients communicate with you through the portal? Can you
Yes.
communicate with them? Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a must-have in my book, so.
Yeah, a motion on this from someone? So on spending donation funds for therapy notes?
I make a motion that we allocate $1,308 plus whatever else might be needed to support therapy notes for Southborough Youth and Family Services.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All right. Susan Beyer,
Aye.
Sue Butka,
Aye.
Beth Dombacher,
Hi.
Sarah Micas,
Aye.
and Lauren Ritchie, aye. And then the second donation account expenditure request was telelanguage for
Yeah.
language interpretation services.
I'm gonna stop sharing. So we talked about this previously too at that very same meeting. The reason it's back is because, again, it's a different vendor. The town administration became aware of the fact that the police department had a contract with telelanguage, which I had known that they had a service, but I didn't. What he is looking into is whether, I think it's a state contract, whether or not other town departments can tap into that. And so the way that would work, you only pay for this service when you use it. So I can't tell you how much it will cost. But what we did the last time we discussed this was the board sort of put forth a figure and said, we approve, this much. I think it was like $400 or something like that to be used towards language interpretation services. And frankly, I feel like that's adequate if you wanted to do a similar figure, but we would only pay for this service when we used it. Telelanguage would send an invoice to the town via the police department or through the accounting department, and then each department that utilizes the service will just pay for their portion of that invoice, if that makes sense. So
Do we have a motion? And then we can have discussion after that.
I make a motion to move forward on, what's the name of this company? I'm sorry, or
Telelanguage.
Telelanguage. And then, yeah,
With
Yeah.
a, should we set a
a
limit?
limit, and then, yes, of $400. Is that all right, Sarah, for the start?
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All right. Susan Beyer,
Aye.
Sue Butka,
Aye.
Beth Dombacher,
Aye.
Sarah Micus,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie, aye. So that moves. It's 8:40. We had a so we don't have a friends report tonight, is my understanding, unless my understanding is that they didn't meet this.
No, we didn't meet, so.
Okay. So other business, if we could table the other business to the September 17th meeting, or excuse me, September 14th meeting, we can, I think Marguerite had wanted to be a part of that discussion, and we have had a long meeting as it is right now, if that's all right.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Sure.
So we just need a motion to adjourn if there's not other business.
I make a motion to adjourn the August 24th, 2021 meeting of the Youth Commission, South Borough Youth Commission at 8:40.
I second that.
All right, Sue Beyer,
Aye.
Sue Butka,
Aye.
Beth Dombacher,
Aye.
Sarah Micus,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie, aye. All right, thank you, everyone.
All right,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Enjoy the last
Thank
couple of
you.
weeks of summer. Sarah, I'll see you next week at
All right.
Biden School.
That's right. That's
It'll
right.
be fun.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Everybody, have a great night. Bye now.